Hi, Mr. Wisdom here. I want to talk to you today about this term that's being thrown around mostly by women, feminists more specifically, and they always talk about the patriarchy. And it's always spoken in the negative, um, which shows that they haven't truly thought about it very much. And the reason why I say that is because um, pretty much every society is geared to protect women far more than to protect men. And um, men inherently, genetically, and in our brains, we're geared to do exactly that. To do for women, to protect women. Um, doesn't mean that we think that they're weaker and they can't protect themselves. It's just inherent within us, right? So that father, for example, he'll do a job that he hates. That is a crappy job, the crappy boss, but it's a solid paycheck with benefits, and he can take care of his family. So he'll grin and bear it, suffer through that for 30 years, so that the wife and kids are taken care of. Right? You always have this women and children first, right? Because men are always last, and we're okay with that, provided that women and children are protected, and not just protected, but are thriving. Right? That's what's geared within us. So we have systems in America that have been set up by the patriarchy to do exactly that. Right? You have nowadays, I mean, it's been for quite some time, areas that are, set up to protect women in lots of different ways. In women's sports and, uh, you know, um, domestic violence and whatnot. And as a society is in general, and this particular country, in terms of government, we have the attitude of what? Believe the woman over the man. Believe the woman pretty much automatic. That's not the case for the men. If this was a patriarchy in a bad way to hurt women, we wouldn't have that mentality. We wouldn't have Title IX. We wouldn't have uh, any protections for women if this was a patriarchy that was against women. Why would we have all these things that are for women and much less for men? I mean, you look at Iran right now. Are they for women? No. So that patriarchy is against women. They're exactly the opposite of our patriarchy. You can't even call it patriarchy anymore because there's a lot of women. But for argument's sake, let's just call it patriarchy. So, excuse me. Do you see my point here? So, Afghanistan, the Taliban, Iran, and some other nations, they're not, they might be patriarchies, but they're against women. Or they're certainly not pro women. They're certainly not doing anything to go out of the way to try and protect them and let women thrive. Excuse me. You see, so in this country, women literally have the most freedom out of any country on earth. You can get whatever education you want, whatever job you want, provided you have the education, the qualifications for it. You can become a politician, you can become a judge, a lawyer, a Supreme Court justice, you can be a police, fire, military. You can literally do whatever it is that you want. Nobody's stopping you. There's literally nobody trying to stop you, and that's been the case since I was a kid in the 70s. Nobody's in general trying to stop you. At least not so-called institutionally. There might be an individual, guy or something or some business out there that's just run by some jerk that might try and stop you, but that's just that one person, you know. So how can you say in the freest country on earth, when we still have the mentality of women, children first, and men do everything first and foremost for the wife and kids, for women and children, um, and still call it a patriarchy, but in a very bad way? And you have women, you just had Gavin Newsom's wife, literally just say that there's a war on women. I mean, my God. Where? Show it to me. You can't. There's literally nothing. The only thing they keep trying to point out, which is false and has been proven false many times over, is equal pay. Men get more than women. No, we make more at the end of the year, but we don't get paid more per hour or per salary if we're hired at around the same time as you and have roughly the same experience and education. Uh, Unless I've negotiated a higher salary, which does happen. My sister did it a couple of times, which sometimes men will do. But for the most part, you're getting paid the same. But men will work more hours. They will do volunteer for overtime. Also, in some positions, more it's usually more like physical position, a physical job. Um, a lot of men will tend to work a little faster, and they find little ways to do it a little bit more efficiently. And so when it comes time to be, employee of the month or of the year, it's almost always men, and maybe they get a bonus. But it's not because they're a man; it's because they went above and beyond, and they're working better and faster and more efficiently than everyone else. Um, and so that's why they're getting paid more. So they're getting paid the same hourly or salary, but they're getting a bonus because of that. And also, women have a mentality that from day one, once they come in, if we're doing the same job, we should get paid the same, which is nonsense. Because if some guy's been there for 20 years and you just started, who are you to make the same money as him? He paid his dues. He proved himself. He's fought for raises and benefits. Maybe he's threatened to strike or strike. And he's worked hard. He shows up early. He leaves late. He helps people. That's why he's making a lot more than you, because he's been there all the time and he's paid his dues. You can't possibly walk in and from day one ask for the same money, right? And women never think that when they started, how about asking the guys who started around the same time as you how much they make? And I guarantee they make the same as you. They don't get paid more simply because they're a man. That doesn't happen. Um, so I'll give you an example. I managed a rim and tire shop a long time ago, and we had our tire tech was the best tire tech in the company, hands down. He was the guy they would send the new people to train. He would train them, and they didn't give him any extra money to train. He just did it out of the kindness of his heart because he loved doing it. Well, I hired a new guy, a new tire tech for another store, and he was training him, and then he found out that brand new guy who doesn't even know his job yet is making the same as him, and that guy's been there for a long time and trains people. So he was upset. He said, I need to get more money. So, the district manager and we fought hard, and they didn't give him much, a couple bucks extra per hour. I thought they should give him more because he trains people. But he was satisfied with that. But you can understand why he would be upset. How is a new person going to make the same as me when I train people? Now, if it was a woman, if he got a raise, she would bitch and moan and say, "Why is he getting a raise? It's just because he's a man." No, it's not. So back to my original point. In a country where women want for nothing, they can do whatever they want, open whatever business you want, and you're not denied loans. There's not denied anything. when you say patriarchy, you shouldn't say it in a bad way. This isn't really a patriarchy, but if you're going to use that term, it shouldn't be said in a bad way when everything's geared more in your favor. Courts are always well more in your favor. And jobs now, they'll promote a woman faster just so that they have more women in middle to lower to middle management or upper management. Whether she deserves it or not, whether she's going to be good at it or not. So, in fact, it's really gone the other way, where it's more of an assault, more of a war. It's not quite a war, but more of an assault on men, not an assault on women. So the idea of patriarchy being a bad thing is nonsense because men are geared toward, doing for and protecting women and children. We all know this. Everybody knows this. It's not every man, but in general, that's what we do, right? So then, when a man's in charge of a country, district, a state, a city, he still has that same mentality. He doesn't say, "Oh well, who cares about the women? Let's just take care of the men first." No, it's always the other way around. It's women and children first. Not even men last, just women and children, and whatever for the guy. Because men tend to be expendable. And we're actually, generally speaking, okay with that, provided that the women and children are taken care of. That's the male mentality. So please, ladies, stop crapping all over us and keep saying patriarchy as if it's a bad thing, as if we're against you, because we're not against you. Never have been against you. Even even voting, when women didn't have the right to vote, that wasn't what you thought it was. It wasn't some sexist thing going, oh, well, no, we don't want women to vote because screw women. It wasn't. Very few women at that time even wanted to vote, even were involved in politics, understood it, or wanted to understand it. Now, how do we know this? Because when women got the right to vote, almost no women went out to vote. It took decades for any serious numbers of women to go out and vote. For many and many elections after they got the right to vote, it was single digits number of women that went out to vote. No one was stopping them. They could have went out and voted. They didn't. Now, obviously, it was a different mentality then. So you act as if all these women wanted to vote and they were denied, they were oppressed. They weren't oppressed. Very few women actually wanted to vote. So if somebody doesn't want to do something and they've never done it and you don't allow them to do it, you're not really oppressing them because they don't want to do it and they haven't done it before. That's not oppression. Right? And other things. Let's look at women in media. Just before women were going to be started being the face of news programs, the main reason they were hesitant to do it because they weren't sure how it was going to be perceived. So they were scared of losing money. They thought there'd be backlash if they have a woman news anchor. And then, of course, when they finally did it, there was no backlash because we're not sexist. We don't care who's telling us the news. In many cases, it's nicer having a softer voice, prettier face. And there was no backlash, so then everyone started doing it. It wasn't because they were trying to stop women and hate women, some war on women. It's because they thought they might lose money. That's what it comes down to with things like that. It's about money. money trumps all. But once they realize they're not going to lose money, okay, then it's good. You go back and look too. Also, you had a lot of women um, who wrote books, but they put a man's name because they thought that if a woman's name was on there, people won't buy it. But then years later, when it came out that it was women, no one cared. They still bought it at the same level that they did before. Same with artists. You had some female painters that didn't put their female name, put their husband's name, or made up a male name, sounding name. And then when it came out, they didn't lose any business because no one cared. They just thought that they needed to do that when they didn't actually need to do that. So it's your perception that people wouldn't want a woman to do this or that, like a female president. Well, who cares if it's a man or a woman? That's not what people care about. Think about it. If people will have a female vote for a female governor, who in most cases has more effect on their day-to-day life, why wouldn't you vote for a female for president? Of course you would. But the choices we've had, unfortunately, have not been great. At least when it comes down to the end. I mean, the last time when Hillary was running, nobody ran. No other females were allowed to run against her. That's the way they rig it. And then in 2024, you had Tulsi, or 2020 rather, Tulsi Gabbard. I was ready to. He was thinking about voting for her, and I thought she would have been okay. But you saw what they did to her. The moment she started attacking Kamala Harris and bringing her down, then they went. They attacked her in the ways that matter. It was harder for her to get money, to get any media time, and they denied her the ability to debate. So then she was out. So when on the rare occasion when you have a good potential female candidate for president, the powers that be, not the general, not men in general, just the powers that be, make sure she's out because they already have in mind who they want to be president. So, anyway, might have got distracted a little bit. So, my overall point is, in this free country where women have the most rights out of any country on earth, and they want for nothing, how can you look at patriarchy as purely negative? Look at it more honestly, please, because it's really kind of, in a way, it's kind of tearing apart society. The way we are here, and you're still so negative and angry. My God, if you lived in almost any country on earth, you would be way more angry because you have far less rights in almost any other country on earth. So please think about it better and more deeply. Thank you.